There it is on the hill. And you can hear throughout the video they keep saying Baphomet, Baphomet. Alright, my Night God people, this video is going to blow your mind. This video takes place in Turkey. It's said that it is a group of friends that were out exploring when they came across something interesting. Of course, at the moment they were terrified, but the being seems just as curious about them as they are it. And what they see is absolutely mind-blowing. Of course, it could be CGI, but I'm inclined to think that it's not. It looks like it could be authentic. Now, of course, for entertainment purposes only, I'm not sure of that. You cannot verify that, absolutely, but it looks legit. Check it out. You'll see eyes first.
Ahmet sakın şu an her yerde çıkabilir, her an çıkabilir. Bu... Ömer sanda. Bir dakika sanda. Nerede? Baba bir dakika. Yukarıda. Tamam gördüm. Gördüm bir dakika bak.
Not sure what that flashing is.
Gördüm.
Lightning?
Ahmet bu boynuzlu şaşapal bak Ahmet.
Look at the white.
Boynuzlu şaşapal bak. Burayı koruyan boynuzlu şaşapal bu çok güçlü.
Next to the eyes.
Çok güçlü Ahmet sakın panik yapma bak. Başına büyük bir sıkıntı gelebilir. Sakın panik yapma bak. Görüyor musun? Şu an bize bakıyor. Ben şimdi bunu çıktı bu ortaya. Bu tılsımla çıktı ortaya.
It amazes me that they're here.
Ama çok güçlü Ahmet. Var mı başka yerde? Burada aşağıda. Aşağıda Ömer abi. Yakında. Ömer abi yakında. Yakında. Arkama geldi Ömer abi. Arkama geldi. Tamam. Aziz.
Now I'm going to show you my version with it doctored up a little bit, brightened, and closer. Check it out.
Ömer abi sanda. Nerede? Baba. Yukarıda. Tamam gördüm. Gördüm bir dakika bak. Gördüm. Boynuzlara bak. Tamam işte. Ahmet bu boynuzlu şaşapal bak Ahmet. Boynuzlu şaşapal bak.
The movement seems natural. Look at the way it's blinking.
Çok güçlü Ahmet sakın panik yapma
If
bak.
that's a costume, it's a damn good one.
Başına büyük bir sıkıntı gelebilir. Sakın panik yapma bak. Görüyor musun? Şu an bize bakıyor. Ben şimdi bunu çıktı bu ortaya.
It's almost as if they knew it was there. They were waiting for it. They were looking for it.
Ama çok güçlü Ahmet.
Could be part of legend.
Aşağıda Ömer abi. Yakında. Ömer abi yakında.
Then they freak out because it disappears. They're worried.
Tamam. Aziz.
So naturally, I had to look into whatever this thing is. And I did it basically by starting with the horns. They're very distinct shape. They're very white and they curl. I had a hard time figuring out at first because I looked into things like Baphomet, how his horns curl. But any Baphomet type creature, there wasn't as much density to the horns. So I didn't think it was that. Then I thought it resembled ram horns. Now I haven't been able to find any distinct being throughout history or mythology that had these type of horns. I know that Lower Egypt had a deity that had ram horns, but it looked like to me 4 heads. So that wouldn't be this. But eventually I did stumble onto something. The way the horns curled at first kind of threw me off. But I did find pictures where these beings had those type of horns. Check this out. I know it sounds crazy, but what I came up with was this. A minotaur. Now, the definition of a minotaur is a humanoid with a bull-shaped head and a tail of a bull. But I also found one source that said it could be a ram with ram horns in a humanoid body. I generally like to sway more towards the bull because it's more common in Greek mythology, etc. The story of minotaurs in Earth's history is absolutely crazy, and it starts out in Greek mythology. After ascending the throne of the island of Crete, Minos competed with his brothers as rulers. Minos prayed to the sea god Poseidon to send him a snow-white bull as a sign of the god's favor. Minos was to sacrifice the bull to honor Poseidon, but owing to the bull's beauty, he decided instead to keep him. Minos believed that the god would accept a substitute sacrifice, and he didn't. To punish Minos, Poseidon made Minos' wife, Pasiphae, fall in love with the bull. Pasiphae had the craftsman Daedalus fashion a hollow wooden cow, which she climbed into to then mate with the bull. She then bore Asterius, the Minotaur. Pasiphae nursed the Minotaur, but he grew in size and became ferocious, as the unnatural offspring of a woman and a beast. The Minotaur had no natural source of nourishment, and thus began to consume humans for sustenance. Minos, following the advice from the Oracle of Delphi, had Daedalus construct a gigantic labyrinth to hold the Minotaur. Its location was near Minos' palace in Knossos. He agrees that Prince Androgeus, son of King Minos, died and that fault lay with the Athenians. The sacrifice of Athenian men and women was a penalty for his death. In some versions, he was killed by the Athenians because of their jealousy of the victories he had at the Panathenaic Games. In others, he was killed at Marathon by the Cretan bull, his mother's former Taurian lover, because Aegeus, king of Athens, had commanded Androgeus to slay it. The common tradition holds that Minos waged a war of revenge for the death of his son, and won. The consequences of Athens losing the war was the regular sacrifice of several of their youths and maidens. Pausanias' account of the myth said that Minos had led a fleet against Athens and simply harassed the Athenians until they had agreed to send children as their sacrifice. Some accounts say that Minos required this every 7 years. Others say every year. But when the time for the third sacrifice approached, the Athenian prince Theseus volunteered to slay the Minotaur. Isocrates orates that Theseus thought that he would rather die than rule a city that paid a tribute of children's lives to their enemy. He promised his father Aegeus that he would change the somber black sail of the boat carrying the victims from Athens to Crete and put up a white sail for his return journey if he was successful. The crew would leave up the black sail if he was killed. In Crete, Minos' daughter Ariadne fell madly in love with Theseus and helped him navigate the labyrinth. In most accounts, she gave him a ball of thread, allowing him to retrace his path. According to various classical sources and representations, Theseus killed the Minotaur with his bare hands. Others say he did it with a club or a sword. He then led the Athenians out of the labyrinth, and they sailed with Ariadne away from Crete. On the way home, Theseus abandoned Ariadne on the island of Naxos and continued to Athens. The returning group neglected to replace the black sail with the promised white sail, and from his lookout on Cape Saunion, King Aegeus saw the black-sailed ship approach. Presuming his son dead, he himself by leaping into the sea that is since named after him. His death then secured the throne for Theseus. Absolutely crazy stories. I know they sound fake, but were they? You have to question the reality of it. You never know, right? You never know. Now, from another source, I found out a little more about the Minotaur, or they call them the Taurines. It's said they hail from here, the Aldebaran, A and B. This is where they're located. According to this source, I read that the Taurines, even though we depict them as generally malevolent beings, are actually very kind and loving. They have a hard time letting other alien factions rule over others. And it's also said that they are some of the most advanced beings in the entire galaxy. Their technology is beyond the realm of normal scope, and that we have a slight history with them. We actually have associated with them in the past. They are tied spiritually, and they do care about their spiritual development. Now, they also say that these beings are so powerful that they stopped Anunnaki rule over their land. They were one of the only factions, and are still one of the only factions to this day, that are powerful enough to withstand the alleged custodians or the Anunnaki. They won't even mess with them. And a lot of times they will even help other beings escape the rule of these two alien factions. So there you have it. I think that if this was actually a Minotaur on a weird tip, that obviously it doesn't have any severe animosity towards humanity. It seemed to just want to be observed and observe. Now, I know it sounds crazy, and this is a crazy story, but it's all for entertainment purposes only. Could this be fake? Absolutely. But nevertheless, it led us into some pretty cool tales and myths. So I hope you enjoyed it. I just came across this video and had to share it with you guys. Stay in the love, stay in the light, be kind to others. I am out.